Coffee and convo, y'all. Let's get it. Yo, salute to everybody already here in the building. You guys know what time it is. Welcome to the latest installment of Coffee and Convo. I am your host, Graphk Raiders. Salute to the greatest chat in YouTube history. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys here in the building, man. Make sure you guys wipe them feet. That means hit them thumbs up and also hit that subscribe button if you guys are not subscribed yet. We're getting closer to 30K, you guys. We can't do it without you guys. It's free. Just make sure to hit that sub button. Also, turn that bell on for notifications to let you know when we are going live over here at OLV Raiders Network. Salute to the chat, man. Charlie Woods, Eddie. I see all my people here. Alzado, Ant Hernandez, Raider Fanatic, 2-4, one of the Mod Fathers himself in the building. I appreciate you, King. Salute, man. Salute. How are we feeling today? There is a lot to talk about today. Before we get there, though, I want the chat to get involved real quick. Where are you guys watching from? What city? What state? Are you at work? Are you in traffic? Are you at home? Are you at the wife's house? Are you at the girlfriend's crib? Are you at the side chick's house? Are you at the side chick's house? Where are you watching this Coffee and Convo today? Let me know down in the comment section. I see Oakland. I see Upland. I see a lot of Cali, a lot of California in the building, man. You love to see it. Sacramento, Matteo, my hometown. Salute to my brother LV Maximus as well. Columbus. DeMarcus says, cold cap, Grab. Appreciate you, brother. I bought this a while ago. I don't even think I ever wore it, but I could be wrong. I got so many of them, man. So North Sac, salute to Coach Adrian, my guy, man. North Highlands, the Heights. Salute to everybody out there. I see Lincoln, California. I appreciate you guys so much. Making moves today, you guys. I don't know if you just seen some of the news that just broke on Twitter. Well, not on Twitter. It was from the Las Vegas Raiders press release. This was for immediate release, May 12th, 2025. We made some moves today. We signed the following players. You know what? I'm going to share this real quick so you guys can actually see it. Present this on screen. Hopefully let me see. Boom. All right, there we go. Now, I know you guys probably can't read it too much, so I'll read it for you. We went out and signed Jafari Harvey, defensive end, 6'2", 255 out of SMU. Also, Katron Jackson Jr., wide receiver, 6'1", 203 pounds out of Baylor. Jaylon Smith, who we're going to talk about here briefly. Linebacker, 6'2", 242, former Notre Dame product. Go Irish. Only 29 years old. Sat out last season. We'll talk about him here in a second as well. Keyshawn Smith, wide receiver, 5'11", 187 out of SMU. A couple SMU guys here. Jonathan Sutherland, safety, 5'10", 202 out of Penn State. Wesley Steiner, linebacker, 5'11", 235 out of Washington State. Now, there's some surprises here. We waived a few players. Now, this doesn't mean that we're completely done with these guys. Maybe we sign them back to the practice squad. Maybe we bring them back at some point. But these guys are officially waived for the time being. Dominique Boyd, tackle, 6'3", 309 out of Georgia Southern. Amari Burney, former 6th-round pick out of Florida, previous regime. Kind of shocking here, man. Linebacker, 6'2", 228. Yeah, man. Amari Burney is officially out of here. We shall see, though, if we bring him back. If not, good luck. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Matthew Butler, another former regime pickup out of Tennessee, defensive tackle, 6'3", 290. Just hasn't panned out since he was drafted to the Raiders. I'm not shocked about this. Tyreek Mallister, a guy that had a great preseason for us, then, was called up to the big leagues, sustained, I believe, a shoulder. He got beat up in that limited fashion, that limited time that he had out there. He got cooked, but he is no longer on this roster. Wide receiver, 5'10", 185. The speedster out of Charleston, West Virginia, Brandon Smith, a guy that I was hoping would find a way to make this roster. Linebacker, 6'3", 240, Penn State. We also released officially Christian Wilkerson, another guy from the previous regime, a Josh McDaniels guy, wide receiver, 6'1", 214 out of Southeast Missouri State. So there you have it. Some moving and shaking today for our Raiders. This new regime is not playing, man. They're moving on from players. They're bringing in new guys. They're trying to build this thing up as they see it. I'm not mad about it. But once again, Matthew Butler, Amari Burney, Tyreek Mallister, Brandon Smith, Christian Wilkerson, all guys that are no longer here, man. So salute to the press release putting that information out today. If you guys are just joining the show, once again, run it back, check it out. We have released a few players, officially signed a few players, and actually waived a ton. So there you go. The news for today. Salute to Nada, my guy. What's good, nation? Appreciate you, my brother, for being a member for 10 months. Dom, I'm not surprised by any, but I think that all of us were kind of hoping that Amari Burney could find a way to make this roster. You know what I'm saying? Homegrown talent. I know he comes from the previous regime. I was actually shocked that Matthew Butler was still on this roster, to keep it a buck with you. I didn't think that Mallister was going to crack this roster at all. I didn't think that Christian Wilkerson was going to make this team either. Once again, a Josh McDaniels, former Patriot guy. Yeah, man, some moving and shaking. Salute to Matt, man. Brother, love the show. You become my top channel. I appreciate you, Matt. That means a lot to me, man. Thank you. DeMarcus says Graphk Waste is going to be pissed about the Bernie. I don't think he's going to be pissed. He had high hopes for him. But once again, high hopes in terms of a 6th-round linebacker means, just crack the rotation. Find a way to get some reps at the actual linebacker spot and, not just a special teams guy. You know what I mean? So I don't think that Wasted thought in his heart of hearts that he was going to be a guy that actually made a major difference on this roster. And that's no knock to Amari Burney, but we have Ferrari. And I see a lot of people were worried. They were kind of mixed up by this. Ferrari, Amari Gaynor is still on this roster, you guys. And it sounds like they have high hopes for the 2nd-round kid out of North Carolina / Florida State. So he's still on this roster at this point. So stay tuned. But we did add a few other linebackers. And then once again, you guys, we did bring in veteran linebacker Jaylon Smith. This is a guy that I had high hopes for coming out of Notre Dame. He was supposed to be potentially a top 5, top 10 pick, sustained a nasty injury. Ended up going, I believe, in the 2nd round to the Dallas Cowboys. Smith is only 29 years old, you guys. The last time we seen him was in 2023. He actually did play in a game for us. He had 2 tackles, 25 snaps combined. This was the victory that we blew out the New York Giants, but then he was waived shortly after. Once again, this is a guy that a former Pro Bowl selection that took a year off last year and is now trying to find his footing back in the NFL. I'm not mad about this. He was a Cowboy for a long time, ended up playing with Green Bay for a brief minute. Then he went to the Giants. Then once again, had a cup of coffee with the Raiders, but now he's back. He went out for a tryout the other day, and it looks like they were pretty impressed with the veteran and what he looked like out there at his tryout. So he will officially be on the roster for now. So this is after bringing in other veteran guys, Devin White, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, former top 10 pick, and a Landon Roberts over from Pittsburgh in that 1-year deal. And then we also went out and, drafted a guy in Cody Lindenberg in Minnesota in the 7th round. So, and we also have a few other guys, once again, Ferrari on this roster and Tommy Eichenberg, in year 2 out of Ohio State. So, but they're bringing some veterans in at the 2nd level of our defense, you guys. Landon Roberts, Devin White, Jaylon Smith. I'm not mad about this. This is a rotational piece, a guy that I don't think is going to start for us, but can be a guy that can come in and definitely help us out if healthy. So once again, and I think that he is because he's coming off of a year where he took a complete break from football. So it looks like he looked solid out there at his tryout, and we're here now. We're going to see how this thing looks. So salute to Jaylon Smith. I am a Notre Dame guy, so I always love to see, Fighting Irish, players in the silver and black. So this one means a lot to me. Salute to Jaylon Smith. He is officially a Raider, you guys. The news broke yesterday. I believe Ian Rappaport was it Ian or Adam Schefter first on the case in terms of the Raiders actually signing him. Salute to Ant, my guy, gifting 5 OLV Raiders Network memberships, my brother. Salute to all the new members in the building because of my brother Ant R. Hernandez. If you guys missed out on those 5, hit the link. It's pinned up top. Once again, it definitely helps us keep the lights on over here. Salute to my guy Ant. Salute to Dinah making moves. Let's go. Salute to my family. Dinah's been a member for 30 months. That means a lot to me, Dinah. Salute to you. A couple surprises, but not any great surprise. No, not at all. Not at all. Once again, it would have been great to see one of those guys, Matthew Butler or Amari Burney, pan out, the former Ziegler and Josh McDaniels picks. But hey, once again, it didn't work out. So, you move on, and it is what it is. I think once we realized Spytech was in the building, you brought in a new offensive coordinator, Graham's still in the building, right? But, you brought in a slew, a cast of new characters. Tom Brady is having some say with football activities now. Pete Carroll was the guy, you know what I mean? So I think we can all agree that we were expecting some moving and shaking. Eddie, yes, Carlson has gone back to number 8. Genty is officially number 2. Salute to Mondo, my guy with that content. Salute to my guy, Mondo Reyes. Let me see. And I'm not mad about that, Westwood. I'm not mad about that. And I like that he went out and brought in veterans, veteran guys. Jaylon Smith, once again, is a proven talent when healthy. He's a Pro Bowl guy. Devin Smith, same. Went out there and had a few good years out there in Tampa Bay. Once again, a former top 10 pick that a lot of people in the nation thought that we should have took over Cleveland Furrow, right? Yeah, man. And Landon Roberts is going to be a breath of fresh air for us at the linebacker position. I'm telling you guys now, remember this. Landon's going to be a stud for us, especially against the run. He is stout against the run. Salute to Angel. What would you say our biggest hole is now? Nickelback, linebacker. We'll go over that here in a second. I got you, Angel. I got my top 5 moves to make in order to turn this, into a build a contender. And what I mean by that is, I'm not saying in year 1 you guys go out there and contend for a Super Bowl, which is very, very much possible. We've seen it happen before, but just a team that can contend for a playoff spot. So we're going to go over that here shortly. Salute to Angel. Y'all step, and this is definitely one of the things that we're going to talk about for sure, because there's so many unknowns in that room. You know what I'm saying? Yo, Step, there's so many unknown commodities. Can Jacorian, after coming back from that shoulder injury, look the way he was looking last year? Before that, can DCAM get better in year 2? And we'll go over the long list of, what we got going on at the cornerback position. Adam, definitely. We're going to talk about that. Alzado says, who's not making our running back room? I hate to say this, but, you have to look at the writing on the wall here, right? Genty is number 1, clear cut. Raheem Mostert is clear cut, number 2. And then you have, 3 guys there, Zamir White, Sincere McCormick, and Dylan Lowby fighting for that number 3 spot. I don't think that Chris Collier is going to make this roster, and whoever else we bring in, some of these guys will fill up that practice squad, but we shall see. Thing is, man, some people believe that Zamir White can be solid, in Chip Kelly's system. We shall see. I know a lot of people complain about his vision, including myself, but I think that it's clear cut that if Raheem Mostert is healthy, and, Genty's clear-cut number 1. You spend the number 6 pick overall on him. He's your guy. So that's the number 1 and number 2. It's going to be a battle between those 3 guys. I think Sincere coming off a solid outing last year, that brief, 3 or 4 game stretch where he looked really good before he ended up, being out for the season. I think they like that. I think they like Sincere a lot. Dylan only had 1 rep. And, he brings a lot of special teams ability to the team as well. So, who's to say? But Zamir White may be the odd man out. I don't know. Once again, another former regime, Ziegler, And Josh McDaniels taking him in the 4th round, I believe, right? Out of Georgia. So we shall see. We shall see. Did I miss it 2-4? My apologies, brother. The chat's flying, man. Salute to 2-4, my guy. Hopefully all the mothers had a wonderful day yesterday. This is the best content in the YouTube galaxy and universe. This regime is not playing. Yeah, man. Salute to all the mothers in the chat. Definitely, man. Happy Mother's Day. We had a ball yesterday. I got a chance to take my wife and kids out. We had a really, really good day. I hope that all the mothers that watch this show had a phenomenal day. Your day. You know what I mean? And us dads, we're coming up, right? I think we're next on the menu here. You know what I mean? So, you know, our day will be coming here shortly. Salute to my guy 2-4, as always. Let's get to it. So I wanted to do a list real quick, you guys, and I'm probably going to be doing a lot of these lists the rest of this week. Rookie minicamp is officially up. We'll talk briefly about that as well. But we're going to be doing a lot of these top 5 lists, top 5 players to keep an eye on, top 5 moves left to make today's show in order to build a contender, so on and so forth. So I have 5 moves, and I want you guys to help me in the chat. Give me your take and what we need to do in order to make this thing a sustainable, successful program where we can move forward and potentially become a perennial playoff team, wild card, division winner. I don't care what it is. Getting back on the winning side of things. Salute to my brother Andy, man, in the building, man. My guy, little bro. Nickel corner has a massive hope, but our base defense won't have a SCB due to having 3 linebackers out there, but we absolutely have a massive need at the nickel spot. Talk that shit, brother. Facts. I love that. You said, but our base defense won't be having a nickel guy out there. We'll have 3 linebackers out there. We absolutely still have a massive need at the nickel spot. This is facts. Salute to my brother Andy, man. Salute to Ty Davis. I got to say, with the draft moves and the UDFA moves, just all the moves they've been making, I'm extremely optimistic about the season and future seasons. This is probably the most optimistic I've been in over a decade. Salute to my brother Ty with the $20 holla, and I agree with you, man. I think every year as Raider fans, we try to find hopium. We try to be as optimistic as possible, and sometimes this is the year. You know, we make the move for Devontae Adams, and DC gets the chance to, have a reunion of sorts with Devontae from their days for Fresno State. We're all excited. You go get Chandler Jones, and that was a big one. I'm like, oh, this is the year. We're coming off a playoff appearance, so on and so forth. It definitely feels different. You know, once again, you have Pete Carroll, not Josh McDaniels. You have Spy Tech, not David Ziegler. You know, there's a ton of moving and shaking out there. We have a proven offensive coordinator in Chip Kelly that's coming off of a national championship. This is going to be a fun season to watch, man. Regardless of anything, you guys, no matter how many games we win or lose, I think that we're going to be very, very competitive this year. And that's all we can ask for from this team with all the talent that we have, the Brock Bowers, the Genties, the Max Crosbys, the Malcolm Kuntzes, and so on and so forth. We just want a competitive product on the football field. And I'm excited to see, what they can put together this year out there in Las Vegas. I know I'll be out there a ton this year and probably hit a lot of road games as well. I am excited, man. Salute to my brother Hammer in the building. Come Pete, my guy. Salute to my little bro Hammer in the building with that content. Salute to my guy, man. Let me see. I agree 100%. Everything makes sense this year. It just needs to come together now. And you guys, it's funny because salute to my brother Hug in the building. My number 1 on this list, I think you guys can all identify with it. And it's not even really a move to make per se. It's just what we need to do in order to build this thing up to become a contender. So let's go. Here's some notes I took, you guys. Number 5 on the list to become a contender this season. I think at this point, add a veteran edge rusher. We've talked about this on previous shows. Zadarius Smith is still available out there. There may be a reunion here in the near future with him in Detroit, which makes sense. They can use another edge rusher. He looked pretty good out there, as a depth piece for them. Well, he played a ton out there because they had a ton of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. But Zadarius Smith, Jadeveon Clowney was just cut from the Panthers. I believe he had about 5.5 sacks last season. I think he had 9 the year prior in Baltimore. Maybe Baltimore brings him back just to add some another piece out there. in that edge room, but that would be a great move. Von Miller at this point, I don't really think he has a ton left in the tank. He had a very, very down year in Buffalo. He's still available out there. You can always add him as just a depth piece that can help some of these young guys. Let's just say Ja Joyner, the young kid out of Minnesota, the UDFA makes this roster. You still have Malcolm Koonce, Tyree Wilson. They can learn a ton from Von Miller being in that room. We need depth also, just in case Koonce struggles in year one. He's coming back from a nasty knee injury, you guys. And it's very possible that he could struggle in year one trying to bounce back from that. It's very tough, to play that position dealing with a nasty, nasty knee injury like that. A 1-year deal, prove it deal. He had a nice chunk of change to get paid. It was still a hometown deal because initially before the season was up, a lot of people were talking about Malcolm Koonce potentially getting 15 to 20 million. But that injury sat him on the sidelines the entire season. But once again, we can use another rotational piece. And what if Tyree doesn't take the next leap as a pass rusher in year 3? He looked better in year 2 last year. But, we're banking a lot on Tyree, the former top 10 pick out of Texas Tech, to take that jump. And year 3 is usually, the year where these guys take that leap. So I'm hoping that he can, and we don't have to worry too much about potentially bringing in another veteran edge, but there's still question marks out there. Can Malcolm Koonce bounce back from that knee injury? Can Tyree take that next step in year 3? Who is Charles Snowden at this point? Who are the other guys that we have on this depth chart? We have we have Max Crosby coming off of, another nasty injury, season-ending injury. We can use another piece out there to potentially come in and be a rotational piece. So number 5, add another edge rusher. Veteran guy, Za'Darius, Clowney, Von Miller, so on and so forth. That is number 5. Number 4, simple and plain. Pay Colton Miller. We've seen the pump fake early on. He didn't go to voluntary workouts. He has no guaranteed money left on the books. He is our starting left tackle. He's played his whole career with the Raiders from Oakland to Las Vegas, from my hometown of Sacramento. Love Colton Miller. He's not a Pro Bowl guy. He's not an all-pro guy, but he has played at a very high level for us at left tackle since he's come into the NFL from UCLA. Once again, no guaranteed money. He had a rough stretch last year, missed the entire training camp. So it was kind of rough to watch him go out there and try to get stronger after coming off that shoulder surgery. But he did gradually improve as the season progressed and showing why he is our starting left tackle and why he's been our starting left tackle for so long. You have money, take care of him. This is not a situation where you're going to have to pay him top 5 left tackle money. I think a 2-year extension, 20 mil per, maybe 20 guaranteed, on top of the year that he has now, that gives you 3 years of Colton Miller. I'm not against that, you guys. What do you think? A 2-year extension, 20 to 25 million per? What's wrong with that? I have no problem with that. Give him a 2-year extension, make 20 million of that guaranteed. What does he owe this year? Like 15 mil? So if you add 2 years on top of this, you have essentially at a 3-year deal with like 20 to 25 million guaranteed. Now, does he sign that? Who's to say? To be determined. But I think that a 20 to 21 million dollar deal a year should get the job done. Sign him to 2 years, give him that 20 to 25 million range in guaranteed cash, and let's run it. Let's run it. So number 4, you want to build a contender this year, sign your left tackle. I don't want to hear any more, anything about Colton Miller anymore. Voluntary, involuntary, training camp, none of that. There's no guaranteed money out there. Give him some guaranteed money. Sign him to a 2-year extension. You have 3 years of Colton Miller moving forward. That gives you some time to develop, the young kid out of William & Mary. Maybe he can be, your starting tackle of the future. But until then, Colton Miller is a proven commodity at left tackle. Pay him. Once again, you don't have to pay him top 5 money because he hasn't been a top 5 left tackle. But pay him like a top 10 left tackle, top 12 left tackle, and let's run it. He wants to be a Raider. I know this personally. Colton Miller wants to be a Raider. He wants to retire a Raider. One team, done. That's what he wants to do. So sign Colton Miller, regardless if it's a 1 or a 2-year deal. Give him some guaranteed cash, and let's run it. Number 4. Re-sign Colton Miller. Pay him, pay him, pay him. Number 3, on the list of making this thing a competitor is add a veteran wide receiver. The Keenan Allens of the world, Amari Cooper. I know some people are with that. Some people aren't. I understand he left on a sour note. I get it. Gabe Davis just cut from the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's available. The 6'2", big body wide receiver that's great in the blocking game. Very young group of wide receivers right now, you guys. Jacoby is the veteran in the group at 28. He'll be 29 in November. We can use some depth, but also we have a lot of unproven talent in that positional group. Besh, Dante Thornton, our guy out of Tennessee, Tommy Malott, etc. They can learn a lot shadowing a veteran like the names that we talked about, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis, so on and so forth. Is it necessarily a need? No. But once again, we have a very unproven room. You have Tucker in year 3? Who is Trey Tucker at this point? Can he take the league by storm this year? Possibly. You know what I mean? And I think that he's pretty much like the second veteran in that room up to this point. You know what I'm saying? Like opposite of Jacoby. So I think that adding a veteran guy, and I'm not saying to start Keenan Allen or whoever. I'm just saying go out and add some value to that room. It would definitely help these young kids learn a ton from a Keenan Allen who is probably a future Hall of Famer at some point. I don't know. Amari Cooper, 7-time Pro Bowler. Gabe Davis, that has played at a high level out there in Buffalo, kind of came back down to earth with his time in Jacksonville. Dealt with the injury, kind of tough to come back from it. But number 3, add a veteran wide receiver. Real quick, before we get into number 2, salute to my guy Pace on the $10 holla. Hey, bro, happy Mother's Day to your mom and your wife. Appreciate you, man. I'm expecting a big signing at the corner spot after June 1st. Our corners are okay, but nothing to be excited about. We know we can get the job done. Pace. We're going to talk about that here next. Stay tuned. Appreciate you, brother. Same to you. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in your family as well, Pace. My dog. And salute to the 900-plus people here. If you're watching on Twitter or on YouTube, you guys get those likes up. And also hit that subscribe button if you are not subscribed yet. So, once again, number 3 is not technically a must, but I do believe that it would be smart to go add a veteran that can help some of these young guys, develop pretty quick, because we have a ton of young guys. We drafted 3 wide receivers, you guys, in this year's class, and they're expecting a lot out of these guys, the Tommy Malottas of the world, the Dante Thornton Juniors of the world out of Tennessee, Jack Besh. They're expecting him to be a starter probably day one. So what's the problem with adding a guy that's probably not going to cost you a ton at this point, this late in the game? I'm not mad about bringing in Amari Cooper, Gabe Davis, or a Keenan Allen at this point. I would love to add another veteran to that room to help these guys speed up the process in year 1, because we have a ton of youth in that room with that positional group. So number 3, add a veteran wide receiver. Number 2, this is kind of clear cut, right? I mean, a lot of people are talking about this corner group right now, and, who's going to start? Is it going to be Jacorian? And, is it going to be Stokes? Is DCAM going to find a way to steal one of those spots? Can Porter come in year 1 and make some noise in training camp and steal one of those starting spots? Who's to say? I mean, this is clear to me, you guys. Number 2, go trade for Jaylon Ramsey. Miami is trying to move off of him. They're trying to get rid of that contract. I don't think anybody out there before, June 1st was willing to take on, the massive hit, which is Jaylon Ramsey's contract at this point. We need a proven starter at this point, okay? I'm not saying that Jaylon Ramsey's going to come in and be that number 1 guy, but he's a proven starter, a 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. He has a Super Bowl on his resume. He played in all 17 games last season, started every one of them, had 2 picks, 7 passes defensed, 60 combined tackles. 39 of those were solo to go along with a sack as well. He will be 31 in October. He's not the same player that he once was, but he would improve a very young and unproven corner group with the likes of Jacorian, DCAM, Porter, Stokes. They would all benefit from having a future Hall of Famer at this point. So trade for Jaylon Ramsey. He missed, Eric Stokes missed a ton of football these last 3 seasons. So we can use a proven talent at the corner spot with a division that has Mahomes, Herbert, and Nick's slinging the football, right? So we need someone proven out there to get this room in order. Carroll would absolutely love Jaylon Ramsey, you guys. They faced off 9 times in their careers. Jaylon getting the better of Pete Carroll, going 5-4 in those matchups between his time in Jacksonville, and the Rams. So once again, make a move, go trade for Jaylon Ramsey, 7-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro, future Hall of Famer with a Super Bowl on his resume. He would add so much value to that room, a leadership role. And once again, our young guys, Jacorian, DCAM, Darian Porter, Eric Stokes, they can learn a ton from bringing in the likes of Jaylon Ramsey. So not against that. And once again, it's not going to cost you a ton of money. I think there's, like $16 million left in guaranteed cash. You can always get him back to the bargaining table and talk to him about his contract, maybe restructure some things. Maybe after next year, he does convert to safety like a lot of these great corners do. You've seen Deion do it. You've seen Charles Woodson do it, so on and so forth. Maybe you bring him in on that year. You get that guaranteed money out the way, and then maybe you're back at the table saying, what can we do now? Convert you to safety if he doesn't play at a high level at the corner spot at 31 years old, which he will be this year. So not against that. And once again, another guy, Melo Dotson, UDFA that I have making this roster would learn a ton from Jaylon Ramsey. I mean, at this point, all these young guys that we have in that group, Jaylon Ramsey's probably like their GOAT. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's probably like their GOAT. Like, they grew up wanting to be like a Jaylon Ramsey. So I think it'd be smart, and Pete Carroll, once again, I said, He's faced off against Jaylon Ramsey 9 times. He knows exactly what the kid can do. I would definitely make a move and swing a trade for Jaylon Ramsey. Let me ask you guys this, because I don't think any of you guys are going to guess this number one. What is the number one? Because it's not necessarily a move per se. What do you think the number one thing thing on this list is to do in order to build this as a contender? I want some comments real quick. Let's get some comments in the comment section. I want to see if you guys can guess this, because I have a feeling nobody will. Ken says, sign Nate Hobbs. Funny. Jay says, extend Jacoby. Nope. That was definitely an honorable mention. But the thing is this, you guys, and I hate to say this, but we signed some guys that Jack Besh plays the game like Jacoby Myers. I think they're going to have Jacoby go out there and play this last year of his deal. And maybe at some point during the season, if he continues to play at a high level, maybe they can sit down at the table and try to bring him back. But they brought in a guy that kind of resembles Jacoby in a sense, in the blocking game, great route runner, does all the dirty work. I don't know if they necessarily want to pay Jacoby Myers. I'm not saying that doesn't, that it makes any sense. But, I mean, honestly, you brought in a few guys that can actually kind of do, what Jacoby can do. He definitely deserves to be a Raider. He wants to be a Raider. He said it out loud. Bring him back. But once again, when you go draft a guy, Jack Besh, out of TCU in the second round, I don't know what that looks like in terms of bringing Jacoby back, because I don't know if they look at him at this point as a true number one. But hey, we shall see. I want to say this too, because I didn't get a chance to say it, and we'll go over a list here in a minute. I want to give DC his flowers. I know a lot of people think that I'm a Derek Carr hater, and I'm not going to turn this into a Derek Carr show. We've had some ups, some downs, some terrible, some great, some good, some bad. Definitely want to say salute to Derek Carr on his retirement. 11 years playing in NFL and starting the majority of it is a phenomenal thing. So I want to say, man, once again, man, salute to Derek Carr. I said it on Twitter, but I want to give him his flowers. Prayers going out to him and his family. They're already having fun with his retirement in day one. You love to see it. Salute to Derek Carr. And we're going to, before the show ends, you guys, we're going to do a top 5 Derek Carr moment before we get out of here. So number 1 on this list, nobody guessed it. Nobody did. Because once again, you guys, it's not necessarily a move. So number 1 on this list, once again, not really a move. It's to get through camp healthy. Max Crosby coming off of season-ending injury. Christian Wilkins, season-ending injury. And there's already talks of that, foot, there might be another surgery and blah, blah, blah. I don't buy any of that crap. But Malcolm Kuntz coming off of a season-ending injury. Jacorian played in 10 games last season, then sustained a shoulder injury, missed the rest of the season. Colton Miller missed all of camp last year with the shoulder injury, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. My number one thing on this list, you guys, is to get through camp healthy. So when week 1 happens, we are good to go. The injury bug absolutely destroyed our team last year. I'm not the biggest AP guy. I was rooting for him because he was our head coach, but those injuries did not help his cause to keep his job. When you lose the likes of a Max Crosby, of the likes of a Christian Wilkins in year 1, Malcolm Kuntz, who was coming off of a really good season the year prior, Jacorian, who was looking very promising, Colton Miller, that did not help AP's cause to be our head coach moving forward. So once again, nation, cross our fingers and pray to God or whatever God you guys believe in that we can get through training camp healthy. Because like Martin just said, the best ability is availability. Number 1 on this list to build a contender. Get through camp healthy. Max ready to go. Malcolm Kuntz ready to go. Wilkins ready to go. Jacorian ready to go. All these guys ready to go. Protect these guys, in camp. And just pray to the heavens above that we can get into week 1, healthy and ready to go. So number 1 on this list of the top 5 moves to make to build a contender is get through training camp healthy. What do you guys think about my list, you guys? Once again, number 5, add a veteran edge rusher. Number 4, pay Colton Miller. Number 3, add a veteran wide receiver. Number 2, trade for the future Hall of Famer Jaylon Ramsey. Number 1, not really a move, but get through camp healthy. That is my top 5 to make this thing a potential perennial playoff team moving forward. Salute to everybody in the building for sitting here and rocking out with me with my 5. I was kind of just rambling on a little bit, but I appreciate you guys for holding tight and kicking it with me the whole time. I got my shit off. So Flores says, wish Christian would just come out and say he's 100% healthy. If true, this is facts. This is facts, Flores. But hey, man, he's focused on football activities right now, man. There's no evidence of him dealing with that foot or that keeping him out of football. He's been out there at camp, and he should be out there, once, the vets return for training camp. We shall see. Only time will tell. I know he had the boot on at Max Crosby's podcast, but, I do believe that potentially was a smokescreen. I could be wrong. But once again, and 2 things can be true, right? It could have been a smokescreen to get the Raiders away from the Mason Graham talk, or to keep them in the Mason Graham talk, to allow Genty to potentially fall to us at 6. And also, man, they're trying to keep him upright. It's a big boy, man. Walking around, put a boot on when you're not playing football. Why not? Why not? Hey, you know what, Ken? The irony in that, Nate Hobbs stays hurt. So, and that's no knock to Nate. We love Nate in Raider Nation, but you can't come over here and laugh about Stokes when you guys just paid Nate Hobbs like a number 1 corner in football, and he stays hurt. So you pretty much just swapped out a 1-year inexpensive deal for Stokes to go pay a massive chunk of change for a guy, Nate Hobbs, that stays hurt every single year too. So, hey, King, and I'm rooting for Nate. Once a Raider, always a Raider. But once again, don't come in here with that foolishness, that bullshit, Ken. You can't laugh about one being injured when the other one is always injured too. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? Salute to Hug, my dog, looking like a demon in his default picture. Who's our team nutritionist and strength and conditioning? Make sure our boys have all the sups, recovery, and dietary needs covered. Is it still Deuce? We need a healthy, happy, conditioned team. You know what? Let me look that up. I want to look that up. But I don't think, is Deuce still around? I think he is still the strength coach, right? I know he's still in the building. I didn't see anything about Deuce losing his job. Let me see. I'm going to look this up. Raiders strength. I know we've talked about it before. conditioning staff. All right. Offense, boom, boom, boom. Defense, boom, boom. So we got head strength and conditioning. AJ Niebel, 21 years of experience. Deuce is still in the building, you guys. Strength and conditioning assistant, 10 years of experience. Assistant head strength and conditioning coach, Rick Slate, 8 years. And we also have assistant strength and conditioning coach, Matthew File, and assistant strength and conditioning coach, Haley Roberts. So that's your 5 strength and conditioning staff members right there. So got you, Hug. Salute to my dog. Yeah. What are you talking about? And we're praying for Nate Hobbs. We're hoping that he goes out there and plays at a high level. But once again, man, let's not play those games. Man, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? So I'm going to do this real quick too. We're coming up on 45 minutes. We're not getting out of here yet, you guys. Make sure to get some questions in, some comments, all that good stuff. Because of DC just announcing his retirement, which I do believe at some point, I know he technically retired a Saint. I do believe at some point he will sign a one-day deal and retire a Raider. I think Mark Davis and company, it's the right thing to do, regardless of how you feel about Derek Carr. He needs to retire a Raider. He spent the majority of his career with us, 9 seasons. It was a turbulent 9 seasons, but, there was some good, there was some bad, there was some ugly. At the end of the day, man, he needs to sign a one-day deal at some point and come home and retire a Raider. I know he's back in Fresno State. I know he has a property still in Fresno in California, but I know he still has a home, I believe, in Las Vegas. I'm hoping that he will. I think does he have a church in Vegas or a church in Fresno? I could be wrong. He's gonna have a lot going on. But I wanted to go top 5 real quick, you guys, and this is just to give DC some flowers because everybody thinks I hate him, and I want to show him some love. As he retires from the NFL after 11 years. Let me bring this list up. And there are a few sneaky honorable mentions that I'm going to throw in there. Top 5 personal DC moments, okay? Number 1, the Chargers win for the playoff spot with the smirk and the timeout. I was at that game. I got an opportunity to watch them. It was phenomenal. We could have just, ran the timeout, and found a way to go into the playoffs anyways. But no, we sent the Chargers home with the Carlson kick to win that football game. Number 1, Chargers win for playoff spot with the Derek Carr smirk and timeout. Tampa Bay game, Seth calling that game. I think DC had over 400, 500 yards passing, had a crazy game out there on the road in Tampa Bay. But Seth for the W, that phenomenal pass in the middle of the football field, Seth bumping off 2 defenders, taking it to the crib to win that football game. Number 2, the Tampa Bay game, Seth to the crib for the W. Number 3, KC game in Oakland with Crabtree as time expired. I was at this game also. Penalty after penalty. I know a lot of people remember this. There was no time left on the clock. We found a way to go out there, and DC and Crab just kept attempt after attempt after attempt. We found a way to get it done. That is my number 3, the KC game in Oakland with Crabtree as time expired. Number 4, Baltimore win in Vegas. Zay Jones calls game. I was also at that game as well. I was pissed that it ended up going into overtime. I thought that we had that game kind of sealed. Some things happened. I believe, was it Nassib that came down with the sack on Lamar Jackson, I believe, that got us the ball back? I don't, it's so fuzzy because all I ever really remember about that game is me being pissed that we kind of didn't just win it clearly. But I do remember Zay Jones calling game, touchdown, DC throws a nice little, I was at this game. I was in Allegiant Stadium. I was pissed off the way the game was looking. I thought we were going to give it up. We found a way to win. Number 5, DC's first win, Thursday night football against the Chiefs. We were, I think, 0-9, 0-10 or some shit like that up to that point. We didn't win a game up to that point, but that was Derek Carr's first win of his career. And it was one of the ones. KC was looking pretty good that season. That, if you guys don't remember, that was the Khalil Mack. And who else was it? It was him and somebody else dancing in the backfield. I forgot who was that with him. Who was that with him? I forgot. What was it? Yeah, Latavius definitely went to the crib for like an 85, 90-yard touchdown. Who was back? Was it C.O. Moore? Was it C.O. Moore? I know the chat got me. C.O. Moore. Okay. Yes. It was C.O. Moore, Khalil Mack back there celebrating a little too much. We had to call a timeout, but we ended up finding a way to win that football game. To me, that was a great game. And also, it was once again, first time Derek Carr got a win in his young career at that point. So personal top 5 DC moments. Chargers win for the playoff spot. Tampa Bay game. Big game for DC. Seth calls game. KC game in Oakland with Crabtree as time expired. Number 4, Baltimore win in Vegas. Zay Jones calls game. DC's first win Thursday Night Football against the Chiefs. Honorable mention number 1 is the Panthers game, you guys. Khalil Mack pick 6 to put us in the playoffs. I know you guys remember this game in 2016. I believe it was Thanksgiving week, I believe. I remember I was in Detroit. I remember this vividly. I was watching this game. We allowed Carolina a chance to get back into the game. They did, but then we, at the end, found a way to win. Khalil Mack, pick 6, jumps into the black hole. That is an honorable mention for me. And then one more honorable mention is 2016 week 1. I was at that game also. New Orleans. Jack Del Rio says, you know what? We're not playing any games right now. The defense has been kind of giving up a ton of ass. We don't want to give, Drew Brees another opportunity to go out there and win this game. So we're going to go for 2 here. Also, it was Jalen Richard's first game ever. Took one to the crib for like 60, 70 yards or something like that. It was crazy. DC had a good game. Crabtree with the 2-point conversion to win that ball game. I was actually there, and I was very afraid that the Saints went for like a 65-yarder as time expired. I was thinking, my luck, I drove all the way out here from Atlanta. They're going to find a way to make this kick as time expires, and we end up losing. It was a fun time out there. New Orleans was a blast. I got a chance to kick it with the nation. This is before I had a podcast. Me and my wife drove out there. It was fun. Riverboat Jack with the decision making that year. It was fun to watch him, gambling all over the place. You love to see it. That's another honorable mention for me. Some people can say the Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys, right, where we went out there and beat them, and Daniel Carlson got a chance to eat a turkey leg at the 50-yard line. You love to see it. But there was a ton of games. There was some good. There was some bad. There was some ugly with Derek Carr. But once again, you guys, I definitely wanted to give him his flowers. Once a Raider, always a Raider. I'm somebody that firmly believed in moving on from Derek Carr, and I got my wish. I thought that he was going to go to the Saints and ball out. It didn't really work out there either. Injuries and, injury-plagued O-line and aging defense and so on and so forth. But good luck to Derek Carr moving forward. Once a Raider, always a Raider. Hope he comes home, signs a one-day deal, and retires where he needs to retire. So once again, salute to Derek Carr. Oh, you know what? That's a good one too, Boss Gremlin. During COVID, no fans. That phenomenal block by Jalen Richard to create that time for Derek Carr to step up in the pocket and throw an absolute bomb to Henry Ruggs to beat them pretty much as time expired. I know the Jets had an opportunity, a few seconds left, and nothing came out of it. But yes, I love that game. I love that. But once again, I don't think Jalen Richard gets enough credit for that block. Absolute dog in the blocking game. Really allowed DC to step up and make an amazing, amazing pass to Henry Ruggs. Henry was just so fast, man. Got behind that defender quick, fast, and in a hurry. And it was just a walk off pretty much out there against the Jets. That was fun too, Marcel. That was definitely fun too. Let me see. Oh, I remember that game too. Very vivid. I thought we were cooked. I'm like, this thing is over. This thing is over. We came back and cooked them boys. Definitely remember that game. It was just a hell of a year that year in 2016, man. Derek Carr was well on his way to potentially becoming an MVP that season if he did not break his leg. Let me see. Get some questions in, you guys. Salute once again to everybody here in the building. Appreciate you guys for rocking with me. We went over our list of 5 Derek Carr moments, give a couple of honorable mentions. Also went over our top 5 moves left to make to build a contender. If you guys are just joining, run the show back and let me know in the comments section after the video is uploaded what you guys think of my lists. Let's see. Salute once again. I think he did it 3 times. Oh my God, Hug. I'm not, look, this is me just giving DC his flowers. I'm not going to spend my time talking about the bad. He's retired. I want to leave on a positive note. You know what's crazy, Coach? I had tickets. I was supposed to be at that game. I flew into Sacramento for Christmas. I was at Twin Peaks off of where Arden is, right? And I had tickets to the game. I had 2 or 3 tickets, I believe. And I got in late and we couldn't make it to Oakland. So I said, you know what? We'll just go to Twin Peaks. We'll watch the game. And it was nasty, man. You know, we were whooping their ass. Andrew Luck was kind of, bouncing back a little bit. And next thing you know, DC breaks his damn leg. And that season was pretty much over. You see Connor Cook come in against the Texans, wild card weekend. We get absolutely destroyed. And DC never really got back to that, to that version of himself. Hey, Flores, you know what's funny, man? I actually finally unblocked him. It's a new day in OLV Raiders Network, you guys. When DC announced his retirement, I announced the unblocking of our guy, Wi-Fi Willie. Unblocked. Oh, shit. Of course, it's my fault, Downs. Of course, it's my fault. This coffee is cold as shit. Salute to the 1,000+ people in the building. Wipe them feet, y'all. Hit them thumbs up. If you guys are not subscribed yet, what are you guys waiting on? Make sure to hit that subscribe button. Salute to my guy, Ty Davis. My favorite DC games is when we stop the Bolts from going to the playoffs. I'm telling you, I was there. I had COVID. I didn't even know I had COVID. I'm in the stadium watching this game, pretty much coughing my life away. It was disgusting work. But yes, that grin and it was beautiful. It was beautiful. No, man, I don't think there's a presser today. I could be wrong, but I don't think there's a presser today. Once again, you guys, we'll go over this list also. We made some moves today. We went over this list at the beginning of the show, but we'll do it again. The Raiders press release dropped some information for us today in the nation out of Henderson, Nevada. The Raiders have signed the following players: Jafari Harvey, defensive end, SMU. Keltron Jackson Jr., wide receiver out of Baylor. Jaylon Smith, the veteran out of Notre Dame. Keyshawn Smith, wide receiver, SMU. Wesley Steiner, linebacker, Washington State. Jonathan Sutherland, safety, Penn State. Then we have waived the following players: tackle Dominique Boyd, linebacker Amari Burney is no longer on this roster, at least for the time being. Defensive tackle Matthew Butler, 2 guys from the previous regime, officially waived. Wide receiver Tyreek Mallister is officially cooked. Linebacker Brandon Smith, a guy that I was hoping would have panned out for, 6'3", 240 out of Penn State. And then we have officially released Christian Wilkerson, which isn't a shocker. I think that we kind of thought this was a foregone conclusion up to this point that he wouldn't make this roster. Salute to my brother Ty in the building, as always. My dog, I appreciate you on a $10 special deal. He was just he was waived. They have different plans in that linebacking group. They brought in some veterans, Devin White and Landon Roberts, and now, Jaylon. They're just looking a different direction. I think that they have high hopes for Amari Gaynor. Maybe there wasn't enough room for 2 Amaris in that linebacking group. I've been watching some of his tape that he's been putting out there on Twitter with what he's been doing football activity-wise. Man, I'm excited to see what Ferrari can do for us moving forward. So, and then once again, we got Tommy Eichenberg in year 2 out of Ohio State. They got a group of youth and a group of vets. And I just think that they just thought that Bernie was, the odd man out. So, and hopefully he gets picked up somewhere else and he goes and balls out. Westwood, this is facts. Big pause. Yes, John B. I am actually creating my show tonight. I see Waste is in the chat. Salute to my big bro. I don't know where he's going to be at Wednesday, but we usually do this annually. Hit me, big bro, after the show, or just let me know in the chat if you want to join me, if we can, do our show. But we'll definitely do a special this Wednesday for the schedule release. And then we'll actually give our real predictions for each game, win, lose, tie, so on and so forth. I don't like to give my record prediction so early. I like to see how it looks in terms of road games and home games. That plays a major factor into how I look at things in terms of win-loss. It's very difficult to, be on the West Coast and say, we're going to win here. And then you're on the East Coast for 2 weeks. And you have to see things, actually, the actual schedule released in order to put this thing together. It's difficult to travel here, travel there, so on and so forth. So I hold off as much as I can with the record prediction until they drop the schedule. Salute to my brother Graham in the building. I was hoping Pete would work some magic with Tyreek Mallister. Yeah, me too, man. But once again, you bring in a Tommy Malott, and at that point, Graham, it's like, where does he fit? Where does Tyreek Mallister fit, right? I'm assuming Malott's going to get some special teams reps, some wide receiver reps. I mean, essentially, you just drafted your new Tyreek Mallister in the 6th round out of Montana State. So, I think it's kind of an easy swap. And I have way more high hopes for Tommy Malott. I think this kid is going to be special. I think they're going to find a way to get him very much involved in the O this season. And I think that he's going to be a stud. Salute to Matteo. The 49ers game in DC's rookie year was dope. Also, I had high hopes for CO. So basically, the Niner game was the dagger in Harbaugh's heart, right? I think that was the last game that pretty much ended that era. Crabtree was still there, and then he became a Raider. Yeah, I remember that game. I remember being in my apartment in South Sac at the moment, watching that game, and just so fucking happy we beat the Niners. We had a terrible year that year, but look, all that mattered, that was my Super Bowl that season, was beating them. It's coming. Trust me. Me and Waste have been talking about the membership only. We will have some shows coming soon. I promise. I know we've said this a million times, but there's going to be some membership only content very, very soon. Very soon. So stay tuned. Let's see. Salute to my boy Snake Fist Kempo in the building. Oh, yeah, DeMarcus Cohen. You know what time it is, man. You know what time it is. Yeah, that was the Rams game, Matteo, right? Wasn't that the Rams game? And were we in another country, or were we in St. Louis at the time? Didn't we play them in like London or some shit? I forgot. I forgot, but yeah, I remember that game. We got absolutely destroyed. Yes, Alzado, it's on the way. It is on the way. Talk to the guys in our group chat. It's definitely on the way. We will be doing an AFC West show breaking down every team's draft. So stay tuned. Okay, yeah, it was in St. Louis. All right. Content. Salute to my guy Dan, 78. Salute. Get a few more questions in, you guys. Coming up on an hour right now. Not going to be doing a 2-hour show today. There's not too much to talk about. We talked about Derek Carr's retirement. We talked about Jaylon signing. We have our veteran 29-year-old linebacker in the building now, coming off of a season where he took off. So hopefully he's ready to go. We talked about the new signings, the new waivings, the release of Christian Wilkerson. So get some more questions in, you guys, before we get out of here. And stay tuned. Once again, we do have a coffee and convo lined up tomorrow as well. I have another show idea that I just got to take some notes, get it situated. So stay tuned for that. Content. Salute to my guy. Let me see. John, patience, grasshopper. Bailey, patience, grasshopper. There was a plan in motion the entire time, and I just been kind of under the radar with it. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Salute to Snake Fist, man. I appreciate you, bro. Respect for your knowledge and content. Salute to my guy. Raider Death, I've not heard anything about Chris Smith. He's still on the roster, but I have no idea what we're doing with him. I have no clue. I have no clue at all. Our former, sixth rounder out of Georgia, former captain. DeMarcus, man, I've been trying to lock that one in, man. Their podcast, follow me on all social medias and stuff like that. We've kind of hit like on each other's, posts and stuff like that, but I have not gotten an opportunity to lock down Marshawn. Definitely need to try, though. I definitely need to get Marshawn. That would be a fun show for sure. And we're still working on locking down the date for C. Wood as well. Now that the dust is settled with the draft and stuff is starting to slow down a little bit, hopefully we get the GOAT on here very, very soon. So stay tuned. Let me see. Good question. If I had to be a betting man right now, RNJ, and this may be the hottest of takes because you guys know how high I am on Dylan Laube and Sincere McCormick, Zamir White. Maybe a hot take. Maybe a hot take. Maybe Chip Kelly thinks that he can bring something to the table that Raheem Mostert and Ashton doesn't bring to the table. I love Sincere. I hope that he can lock down one of those spots. I hope that Dylan finds a way on this roster, regardless if it's through special teams or is that third down back. But I got to keep it a buck. Zamir's still on a rookie deal. Maybe they find a way to unlock what he looked like a few years prior in that 5-game stretch. I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Zamir won that third spot. Because once again, I think he does something different than Ashton Genty and Raheem Mostert. So we shall see. I know our brother Scout thinks that Zeus may be successful in this new system. He kind of stated that, Chip Kelly's system is kind of similar to what Zamir White ran in Georgia. So we shall see. But, yeah, we'll see. We shall see. I think he has – is this his last year? Or is this year 3? This is year 3 for Zeus, I believe, right? He signed a 4-year deal. I believe it's year 3 for Zeus. Is it? Or year 4? It may be his last. Let me look that up. I'm going to look that up. Signed a 4-year deal in 2022. Yeah, so he'll be a free agent in 2026. So, yeah, next year. Yeah, so this will be his 4th season in 2025. Year 4. Salute to my brother Hug. What do we think Chip Kelly's offense will look like this year? He's had very run-heavy offenses. He's had West Coast and play-action offenses. What do you think the Raiders' offense is going to look like? I think it's going to be heavily relying on the run game. Hug, it's going to look exactly what you said. Had very run-heavy offenses. That's what it's going to be. They're going to rely on Ashton Genty. When they took him there at 6, the writing was on the wall. That's what they want to do. They want to run the football. Now, will there be different looks? Definitely. Are they going to find ways to get their receivers heavily involved? Definitely. But it's not a shocker that they took Genty at 6. They drafted one of the better blocking wide receivers in Jack Besh in round 2. You know what I mean? And Jacoby's still on this roster, which he should be, right? But one of the better blocking wide receivers in football. I just think that they're going to run the ball heavy. This is going to be a system where they run the ball to set up the pass. We've said this in years prior. This is what we need to do. That's what the hell we're going to do this year. They'll find a way to pass the football a ton, though. Don't get me wrong. you got Geno who can stretch the field with his arm. He can throw the deep ball. He's very accurate. There's a reason he had 4,300 passing yards last season in a down season with Seattle. But I definitely think that, we're going to see a ton of everything. Just like DeMarcus said, heavy run, play action, a ton of misdirection plays. I love what he just said. Use the speed to clear out the middle of the football field. You got Dante Thornton out there. You got Trey Tucker, two speedsters that can open up things for the middle of the football field with Brock and Michael Mayer and Jacoby and Besh. It's going to be a fun system. But I do believe they're going to rely heavily on running the football. There's a reason you invested in the number 6 pick on a running back in a deep running back class. So I do believe that he's going to run the ball a ton. And they did in Ohio State too. He had 2 great running backs in Trayvon Henderson and Quinshon Judkins. They ran the football to set up the pass, but they also had some great wide receivers out there as well, right? But yeah, we're going to run the football a ton. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Pete Carroll wants to run the football. Why do you think he brought Chip Kelly in? Because he wants to run the football. Let me see. Force the defense to stack the box and take advantage of whatever the defense gives you throughout the season. Boom. 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 Factory outlet. Graham with a haymaker. Salutes my guy. Rich, I'd rather have Chip Kelly. Hey, Wasted, don't promote that foolishness in my chat. Somebody block Wasted, man. Get him out of here, man. Block that. Promote that foolishness in my chat. I got a show tonight. Nobody gives a shit. Here's an idea, Wasted. Cancel that motherfucker. But I'd rather have Chip. I don't know what that thing would have looked like with the Commanders if they didn't have Jaden Daniels. And I'm not saying that he's not a great offensive coordinator. I'm just saying he had an opportunity to have Jaden Daniels. Oh, yeah, Angel. We're going to have some fun. We are going to have some fun with Brock Bowers and Ashton Genty on this roster. Let me see. Oh, yeah, for sure. We know this. Coming off a national championship. Just does not need to be a head coach. But yeah, man, other than that, love. Appreciate you guys so much. We will be back tomorrow. Maybe sometime this week we'll have a Graphk and Wasted and Graphk show. We're going to do the schedule breakdown Wednesday night. So stay tuned for that. We got some other guests pulling up very, very soon. So stay tuned for that. What else? Other than that, man, love. Appreciate you guys so much for always rocking with me. Wipe them feet, hit them thumbs up, and also hit that subscribe on the way out. Love.